Today's protagonist is Robert. He's dedicated 40 years to building his career as a general contractor while managing a few residential rental properties at the same time. He's always envisioned his retirement by enjoying these lazy mornings, spending afternoons on the golf course, and finally having time in his life to relax. When his retirement party came, he was honored for his years of hard work. His colleagues wished him well in this next chapter as he turned over his business to his oldest son. Initially, it felt like freedom. He no longer had to wake up early, meet deadlines, or cope with the workplace stress and the demands of his clients. But as the months passed, Robert started to feel something he hadn't expected: boredom. Without the routine and purpose his job had given him, the days began to take on an aimless blend of mediocrity. Golf wasn't as exciting when it was the only thing on his schedule. His social life shrank. He no longer saw his coworkers daily. He spent more time watching TV and less time engaging in activities that challenged him both physically and mentally. Welcome to my podcast on How Not to Retire, a psychological approach to retiring healthy and wealthy. Episode 38, Living a Balanced Life. Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Richard Himmer. Before we continue with today's message, let's recall our last podcast on retirement orientation. I likened retirement to attending your freshman year in college with a full-ride scholarship, yet arriving on campus without a clue about what to do. You don't know where your dorm room is, where the cafeteria is, what classes you need to take, what your major is, who your professors are, or where your guidance counselor is. In fairness to retirees, for decades, there's been no retirement orientation. Now, before you think of your financial planner, the industry of financial planner is not supported by preparing you emotionally, psychologically, and physically for retirement. They're focused on your scholarship. How will the schooling or your lifestyle be funded? Will you have enough money before you die to last that long? This is a follow the money scenario. I've spent years combining mortgages and insurance products with the financial coaching, working with couples on how to communicate with each other on tough topics. I remember conducting an informal survey. It probably lasted 3 or 4 years with my clients. Each couple that came into the office was asked what the number one cause of marital conflict or discord was, in their opinion. Now, given they're in my office, the question was heavily biased by the environment. I recognize that. There's no science behind this. However, their answers were so unanimous, or better said, with few exceptions, their answers were always the same. What's the number one cause of marital conflict? Money. It's rare to find a financial planner or retirement specialist who prioritizes your lifestyle. No amount of money can buy happiness if you lack a plan or a set of habits to foster it. Your habits, systems, identity, purpose, and capacity to achieve your wishes and goals are all enhanced with a full-ride scholarship. In this way, money enhances happiness. For those of you who have enough funds for a full-ride scholarship during retirement, meaning you don't need any additional support beyond what you already have and then what you're bringing in, these podcasts are focused explicitly on how to use your retirement funds, the scholarship, to maximize your fun, to enjoy life, to deepen connections, and live your best self possible. So let's get back to Robert just for a moment. As time passed, his energy started to diminish. He gained weight. He ceased exercising and felt increasingly disconnected from the world around him. His wife, Susan, noticed the shift and encouraged him to pursue new hobbies or volunteer. He brushed that off. I worked hard for this, he would say. I just want to relax. It was a year into retirement before Robert's doctor gave him the sobering news. His cholesterol had spiked, his blood pressure was up, and he was at risk for depression. Now, none of this should sound surprising to anybody who's aware of what's going on when someone retires and goes from very active to very passive. The very retirement he had longed for was now compromising his well-being. It wasn't until he finally, after much persuasion, took his doctor's advice to get active, to reconnect with friends, and find purpose to spend his time that Robert started to feeling fulfilled. The thing is, this story about Robert is not unique. It's not new. Many retirees experience a decline in happiness and health and overall life satisfaction when they transition from a structured, purpose-driven life to one without direction. In fact, early research on retirement and life expectancy found that individuals who retired at 55 had nearly double the mortality rate within 10 years compared to those who retired at 65. Okay, so let's just stop for a second. Meaning, when you choose to retire and it's only about money, you're probably compromising your overall well-being. You need to take into consideration more than just the scholarship. A similar study in 2012 found that retirement can lead to a decline in cognitive function, increased risk of chronic disease, and an overall reduction in life expectancy, particularly for those who do not engage in new, meaningful activities. Do you see the caveat here? You do not have to move into a physical or emotional decline. It's not required. It's not mandated. It's just what happens because we fail to plan other than the scholarship. When your scholarship, your rate of return, when the financial everything is all you care about, you might be sacrificing the very thing you want the most, which is to be able to spend time with those you love the most, to do the things you want to do, instead of always having to go to the office or meet the demands of your clients. Research shows that retirees who do not maintain a balance of physical activity, mental engagement, and social connections are at risk for poor health outcomes and reduced longevity. So that's the big three: physical activity, mental engagement, and social connections, which is how we're hardwired, which is what we do when we're healthy during the working years, during all those years when we're raising kids. This podcast, on a whole, explores why balance is essential during retirement and how retirees can integrate purpose, physical activity, mental engagement, and the all-important social connections into their daily lives. And this includes the introverts out there. You know, there are a lot of folks like Robert who perceive they've earned the easy life. Yet research indicates that the so-called easy life is actually more challenging than the work necessary to maintain a sense of purpose and staying active. Retirement is falsely envisioned as a period of relaxation and leisure following decades of hard work. However, many individuals find that an unstructured retirement focused solely on leisure without purpose leads to diminished quality of life. And that's physically, mentally, and socially. So for the remainder of today's podcast, we're going to cover the big three: physical activity or exercise, mental activity or exercise, and building and maintaining social connections. As repeatedly mentioned, studies indicate that retirees who lack balance, neglecting physical activity, social connections, and mental stimulation, are at greater risk for health problems, cognitive decline, and even reduced life expectancy. An unbalanced retirement, especially one devoid of physical activity, can lead to serious health consequences. So this is the physical part. Studies show that a sedentary lifestyle is associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, obesity, diabetes, and even premature death. Now, you'll notice a pattern here. When we don't do certain things, here are the consequences. So I don't want to come off as a Debbie Downer here. I don't want to make it all about the negative, because in everything that we've talked about from the beginning of these podcasts on is what to do. So I'm saying what not to retire is more as a play on words. But everything in every podcast is, okay, here's solutions. Here's what you can do in place of it. That's the key to success in anything you do. Find out what's not working and then replace it. So if what's not working is the system that you have in life, you're basically firing the system. This isn't personal. Even though your system might have been taught to you by your family of origin, the environment in which you grew up in, we're simply inviting you to replace behavior that's not getting you what you want with behavior that does. Many retirees, after years of structured work schedules, struggle with maintaining physical activity when suddenly faced with an abundance of free time. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise per week for retirees. Okay, they use older adults, but I'm speaking to the retirees basically. I'm not glossing over this statistic so quickly. So typically in the American mind, we just read something and think, okay, that's great, I've heard it. No, let's go and address this. What does 150 minutes of moderately intensity aerobic exercise per week mean? Okay, that's roughly 20 minutes a day. All right? What can you do for 20 minutes to get your heart rate moving a little faster? I have two lists to consider. List one, the first one I'm going to give you, is for the adventurous, outside-the-box thinkers. Okay, you could do a grocery cart Grand Prix. Power walk through the supermarket while dodging slow-moving shoppers. So all the retirees who aren't listening to this podcast, get rid of the road carts and the temptation at the bakery aisle. Bust through the bakery aisle. Make that the straightaway. Now we're going to hit 200 miles an hour. Bonus points for racing to the shortest checkout line before it mysteriously becomes the longest. So each of you take a list, see who gets the list done the first, and then have a competition getting to the checkout. Here's another one. Remote control hide and seek. Intentionally lose the TV remote, then spend 20 minutes frantically searching under couch cushions, behind furniture, and in the fridge, because it might end up there. And what makes this more fun? Wives, if you do this to the husbands and you don't tell them, and just say, I don't know where it is, let's go ahead and find it. Pretty soon they'll get the idea, because they're so sedentary. It'll be a great way to get them moving, although they might get angry at you. Okay, here's another one. Chasing the dog that doesn't want to come inside. Nothing gets the heart pumping like a determined pet who suddenly forgets their name when called. I had another one that just came to mind while I was thinking about that. Let the dog out and then go chase it on purpose. Or maybe just go find a neighbor's dog, let it out and chase it. Maybe it's a little too far. Another one, dramatic parking lot standoff. Park as far from the store entrance as possible, then speed walk to the door while pretending you're in an Olympic race against the person who just took the last good spot. Another one, grandkid obstacle course. Try to keep up with a toddler for 20 minutes. Okay, no further explanation needed. Just try that one and you'll know. It's exhausting. Okay, another one. Unplugging the Wi-Fi while your spouse is watching something. I like that one. And run for your life when they realize what just happened. It's great for cardio, but may disrupt marital harmony. Okay, here's another one. The Amazon package sprint. Hear a delivery truck? Okay, you run out, and if you're in your slippers or whatever, and grab the package before the driver reaches the porch. If you can get there before they even get out of the truck, bonus points. Okay, another one. Dancing like nobody's watching, but they probably are. So get some good old rock and roll or some disco and just let it loose in the living room. If the neighbors accidentally see, just own it. They're going to be envious and they'll think you're cool. And by the way, cool is a cool word. Okay, another one. Trying to fold a fitted sheet. Engage in a full-body wrestling match with a piece of fabric that refuses to cooperate. Really give it some gusto. And then the last one, running late for the early bird special. Nothing sparks a cardio session like realizing your favorite diner stops serving the senior discount in 5 minutes. Plan it so you get there just at the last minute, and then use some of your negotiating skills to make sure you still get the discount. Okay, this is the more traditional approach. It's for more mature thinking retirees, where mature often, but not always, equates to boring. Okay, so here's the simple stuff that the researchers will say. Brisk walking, a power walk around the neighborhood, the park, or even inside a shopping mall. Adding light hand weights can really help, or maybe really light ankle weights. Dancing, it could be a dance class, a YouTube tutorial, or just putting on your favorite music, a la one of the points we had before. Swimming is a great exercise, or water aerobics. It's great, low impact, and there's a lot of community going on there. Cycling or spinning in your local YMCA. So cycling, riding a bike or stationary bike for 20 minutes is great for the heart. It gets the legs moving. It's even good for the back, believe it or not. Electric assisted bikes are a good option for those needing extra help on the hills. So my wife's back really has been giving her fits, and she did pick up an electric bike. And now we can ride together. I'm still pretty good on the bike, at least for now. And so when we go on rides, she'll tease me when we're going up a hill. She'll come back and go, hey, let's do that one again. That was fun. But I'll blow past her going down the hill. They're not quite as fast down the hill. Gardening with energy. Raking, digging, pushing a wheelbarrow, vigorous weeding, playing with the grandkids or pets, engaging in active play. Do something that's fun. Tai Chi or yoga with flow movements. Now, typically Tai Chi is seen as slow moving, but there are faster paced styles such as vinyasa yoga or dynamic Tai Chi. Stair climbing. I've made it a rule as best I can, as long as it's within 5 or 6 floors, to always take the stairs. It's little, it's not much. Whether it's up or down, it does make a difference. And then there's my favorite one, and I didn't make this one up. This is part of the research, pickleball. I know tennis is in there too, but you know what? Pickleball is a lot more fun at my age. These social and engaging sports, they're an excellent cardiovascular workout, and it's fun to get to know other people. And then lastly, body weight exercises. It's a combination of squats, lunges, jumping jacks. My wife and I joined Orange Theory. I'm not promoting someone because I have a tie to them. Orange Theory is providing a lot of benefits to us at this point in time. It's really helped my wife's back. It's strengthened my core immensely, and it's all structured for me. So I go in there, I don't have to think about anything, and I'm constantly being motivated by the group, the class, the music. And just for what it's worth, I'm the oldest one in there by a significant amount as a general rule. And for the first time in my life, I'm the teacher's pet, because I'm this older gentleman in there working as best I can to be in shape with my wife. It's very, very fun. So many retirees, and this is, you'll know, you know who you are if this isn't working for you. If you don't meet this benchmark, your muscles will atrophy. Your mobility will be reduced, and you're going to have a higher probability of falling and fracturing or breaking a bone. You're going to see a rapid decline in your overall health the minute you go from active to passive. With every fiber of your being, the best you can do, keep active. And that's the physical part. So this section now is on the cognitive decline and mental health risks. Remember, there's the big 3. So it's physical, it's mental, and then it's social. So here's the mental. This is a very critical component of a balanced retirement. The researchers have suggested that cognitive decline is accelerated in individuals who do not actively engage their minds through learning, problem solving, or creative activities. And we've already talked about it in the physical aspect too. So whenever I say there's cognitive decline because of mental, it's also because of physical. And if you do both, you're ticking time bomb. Retirement can lead to a loss of intellectual stimulation, particularly for those who are in mentally demanding careers. And if you are one of those who've been in a mentally demanding career, and all of a sudden you go dormant in the noggin, you're just asking for trouble. It will atrophy so quickly, and you will crave having an intellectual conversation that you might even go and start picking fights with people just so you can get your head moving. That's probably not the best approach to doing that. So retirees who lack a sense of purpose oftentimes go into that dormant stage. Or if they don't have a daily structure, they're more prone to depression and anxiety. So a study done in 2002 found that retirees who engaged in meaningful activities like volunteering, part-time work, things of that nature, report higher levels of psychological well-being. But on the flip side, those who lack structured activities often experience feelings of emptiness, aimlessness, and this one's critical, a loss of identity. no identity, no purpose. No purpose, no structure. No structure, a diminishing physical and mental capacity. And then when that starts to diminish, life expectancy starts declining. So here's a couple of ideas. And these are the fun ones and then the traditional ones. No, we're just going to do the fun ones. That's right. I only researched the fun ones. So here we go. I think there's about 10 of them. So extreme Sudoku. Try solving a Sudoku puzzle while holding a conversation, watching the news, and eating a snack. And if you have a partner there, do it with them and see who does it first. The bonus is, can you do this without getting crumbs everywhere? You probably can't do it anyway, even if you were just totally focused on eating the snack. Okay, conspiracy theory bingo. If you like to watch the news, go ahead, turn on a bunch of late-night talk shows and scroll social media and mark off the wild theories when you hear them. So aliens, okay, drones that are piloted by the mothership from Iran out on the Atlantic Ocean, okay, any secret government experiments going on, okay, flat earth, all right, Man on the Moon was staged in a Hollywood studio, okay, and then give yourself X amount that you want to cover and see who gets to it first. All right, here's one that I don't know if I recommend this one, but it is very interesting. Rearrange the furniture and try to navigate in the dark. Now, this is my childhood. Every month, and sometimes every other week, my mother, for whatever reason, needed to rearrange all the furniture in the living room and the dining room if possible. But she just started moving things around. Well, if I'm going to the bathroom in the middle of the night or I have to walk upstairs or whatever, it was guesswork as to where everything was. Now, if you tried to do this, just don't blame me if you stub your toes. This is not one that's on the recommended list. It's just one on the researched list. Talk to a telemarketer in a foreign accent. And I got a lot of fun things you can do with telemarketers. But keep them on their toes by pretending to be from some weird country. Make up some laws that you can't buy anything after 3 o'clock, or you only buy between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. Or ask them, help me out here. Can you give me your Social Security number, please? And here's my favorite one. Would you mind giving me your cell phone number, and I'll call you tonight when you're eating dinner, and then we can go ahead and talk about this. Is that all right with you? Just have a little bit of fun with it. Okay, here's another one. Learn to text like a teenager. First, you have to decode their modern slang and all the emojis, right? What do certain things mean? LOL, BRB, JK. But let's go ahead and practice the way they're doing it. I like this one. Invent a new holiday and see how many people you can convince that that is a real holiday that Congress just passed. National Left-Handed Fork Day. Wear your socks inside out week. See what happens. Write Yelp reviews for places you've never been. So unleash that inner critic and start reviewing random diners, gas stations, luxury resorts, and you've never been there. The Eiffel Tower was lovely, but the snack options were a bit disappointing. Just have some fun with that. This is actually my favorite, and this is one that I wrote. Try memorizing your grandkids' birthdays, favorite colors, and favorite foods. Okay, there's your start. And every time you talk to them, just go over it with them to make sure you got it, but add one more thing about them that you can add to your memorized list. Getting together with your grandchildren is now fun for them too. Okay? Start a fake gossip column for your retirement community. Give completely innocent activities dramatic headlines. Bob seen walking with 2 different dogs this week. Scandal brewing. And the last one, recreate famous movie scenes in the grocery store. Now, this is something my wife would do. Dramatically whisper, "I see dead people," in the produce aisle, or reenact Titanic by holding onto the cart and yelling, "I'm king of the world!" All right, there's a couple ideas. Take them, run with them, have some fun with them. Social connections is the third one, and this really is so critical. Please don't overlook this one. It's essential for well-being, but so many retirees experience increased isolation after leaving the workforce. Now, there are a couple of things that I suggested you do that will give you more isolated experiences, but for all the right reasons. Without daily interactions with colleagues, family, retirees must actively seek social opportunities to maintain strong relationships. In podcasts in the past, I've talked about how to invite grandchildren over and how to make it fun for them. The minute you start guilt leveraging grandchildren and children to come visit you by playing the woe is me card, the victim card, you are already in diminished capacity. Please be aware of that and make an immediate course correction and start moving into these 3 areas and learning how to connect with people on your own. Make it your energy that's acting instead of being acted upon. So studies indicate that social isolation is linked to a higher risk of mortality. The same problem. Comparable to risk factors such as obesity and smoking. The exact same stuff. In other words, physical exercise, mental exercise, and social connections all prevent going into increased high mortality, obesity, smoking, anxiety, stress. They're all interconnected. One without the other compromises you. Maintaining friendships, joining community groups, or participating in clubs can mitigate the negative effects of isolation. Social engagement has been shown to improve mental health, reduce stress, and even lower the risk of dementia among older adults. Okay, so I've been a little bit of a negative for most of it, but let's say that again. Here's the positive thing. Social engagement has been shown to improve mental health, reduce stress, let me throw in anxiety, reduce anxiety, and lower the risk of dementia. Dementia is one of the scariest daggone diseases out there. We don't want that. So here's your pro tip for the day. Most boomers, and this gets worse the younger you are, don't know how to effectively socialize. Too many dull, meaningless, and aimless conversations about nothing do not make or deepen a relationship. Hyman Rickover said, "Small minds discuss people. Stop talking about people. Average minds discuss events. Okay, at least you're average. But why not be great? Great minds discuss ideas, theories, principles, laws, science, different ideas that are going on. Be great. No one has sentenced you to a life of mediocrity or even less than mediocrity. Learn how to effectively communicate so people enjoy your company instead of silently driving them away because all you talk about is yourself and your aches and pains. Well, your constant narrative about your aches and pains is a pain in the neck to those in your presence. And I'll put a little PS on that one. It's even worse when that's all you talk to your children and grandchildren about. One of the most critical components of a fulfilling retirement is having a sense of purpose. Purpose can come in many forms, including volunteering, mentoring, pursuing hobbies, or even part-time work. So research in about 2014 found that individuals with a strong sense of purpose had a 15% lower risk of death. Here we go again with that death theme over a 14-year period compared to those without a clear sense of direction. If you're aimless, you have no purpose. If you have no purpose, you probably don't know who you are because you're still tying your identity to your past career. Well, you have a new career now. And your career isn't that I'm retired. That's more of a Debbie Downer moment if you want to get real about it. What is your career? Who are you? I'm a budding musician. I'm a writer. I'm a master gardener. Retirees who find ways to contribute to their communities often experience greater life satisfaction, whether it's mentoring younger generations, engaging in charitable activities, or, my favorite, continuing to develop skills. Having a structured purpose leads to a more meaningful retirement. Okay, we're going to review now. Perchance you started daydreaming or need to hear this again. I'm going to review today's message of balancing, and I'll just do it in a Reader's Digest version. Starting with regular physical activity, which not only extends life expectancy, but also improves overall quality of life. Exercise helps maintain muscle mass, improves cardiovascular health, and enhances mobility, reducing the risk of falls and injuries. Activities such as walking, swimming, yoga, strength training can all be incorporated into a retiree's routine. A study in 2017 found that older adults who exercise regularly experienced a 30% lower risk of developing chronic diseases compared to their sedentary peers. Physical activity also has cognitive benefits as it increases blood flow to the brain, reducing the risk of dementia and cognitive decline. There's number 2, engaging the mind through lifelong learning, exercise mentally. Just as physical activity is essential for maintaining bodily health, mental engagement is critical for cognitive well-being. Retirement presents an opportunity for continued learning, whether through reading, taking courses, engaging in puzzles, or developing new skills. A study in 2009 found that engaging in mentally stimulating activities reduced the risk of dementia by up to 50%. I mean, we're really on this death and dementia bandwagon here. The idea is that we don't want either one right now. We want to have fun. We want to enjoy it. Dementia is like a living death to some because you're not there anymore, right? That's not very fun for anybody involved. So why would we want to do something that's going to increase the likelihood of something we don't want? Learning a new language, playing musical instruments, or engaging in strategic games can help keep the brain active and sharp. All right, the last one, building and maintaining social connections. Retirement is an excellent time to strengthen relationships with family and friends. Social engagement is linked to numerous health benefits, including lower stress levels, improved cardiovascular health, and a reduced risk of cognitive decline. That's from 2010. Joining clubs, attending religious or community gatherings, and staying in touch with former colleagues helps retirees maintain strong social networks. All right. Additionally, many retirements find fulfillment in intergenerational relationships, mentoring young ones, young skulls full of mush, spending quality time with grandchildren. So I'm going to give you 6 strategies as we finish off today for a balanced retirement. 1, create a daily routine. Establish a structured schedule. 2, engage in regular physical exercise. 3, engage in regular emotional, lifelong learning exercises. 4, maintain social connections, increase social connections, actively participate in making friends, and learn the skills on how to make a friend. And if you want to get some, we've talked about this a lot in previous podcasts. 5, find purposeful activities, engaging meaningful work, community service, mentorship. And lastly, prioritize mental health, mindfulness, meditation, or seek professional support if needed. In conclusion, a fulfilling and healthy retirement requires more than just financial security. It's great to get a scholarship, but happiness demands a balanced approach that incorporates physical activity, mental engagement, purpose, and social connections. Research consistently shows that retirees who lead balanced lives experience better physical and mental health, greater longevity, and basically an overall improved well-being. By planning for retirement beyond leisure and ensuring daily activities include these meaningful pursuits, retirees can enjoy their later years with vitality and fulfillment. Remember, as in the past, it doesn't matter how much money you have if you don't know how to use it. I'm suggesting that don't try harder at your passive lifestyle. Try different and make it an active lifestyle. Until next time, have a great week.